Joining me now is environmentalist and the managing director, CEO, Mark Press West Africa Limited, Ido Salau. It's nice to have you join us right now.
Thank you.
Over the years, we have been talking about this, this alert that goes out every year before the rains. There's going to be rain here, some states will be flooded, some local government will be more affected and all of that. And it seems nothing happens until people begin to feel the the weight and the realities of this. How helpless are Nigerians or even the governments when it comes to handling these issues headlong?
Maybe we should just advise the people in government right now that the state of flooding in Nigeria has moved from being significant to life-threatening.
Wow.
Yes. And I'll give you an example of that. That 2012 and 2018 margin that you refer to, it's just about 6 years. We've started Boko Haram war for 10 years now. Let's look at the risk to life and risk to displacement of people between that period, which is the Boko Haram war and the flood. Put together. In 2012 alone, 2.1 million people are displaced from flooding in Nigeria, with 633 people that lost their life. Only in 1 year. The entire 10 years of prosecuting the Boko Haram war, we've gotten about 2.3 million people displaced, even though we have more deaths recorded. If you extrapolate those just 1 year, the level of victims from flooding, maybe that will ginger the politicians and the people in government to now take the issue of flooding seriously and budget money for it.
All right, it is one thing for the meteorological agency to issue out this warning.
Yes.
Which government agency is responsible for the actual action of either relocating the people or meeting on one-on-one, earmarking and saying, okay, where you are, this house, you are under the flood-prone area, relocate, or as the case may be?
The question you're asking is other than the response. You have four phases of flood risk flood management. We have 4 phases. We have the prevention phase, we have the response phase, and you have the mitigation phase, and we have the mitigation and response phase, then preparedness and prevention phase.
Okay.
No, the one you are talking about is about response.
All right.
And if you look at NEMA seems to be handling some of the area. If you look at relief to the flood victim, NEMA is handling that. Preparedness, meteorological is handling that because they have to issue warning. Response is from then. The mitigation is supposed to be handled by Federal Ministry of Environment and State Ministry of Environment. Other area, which is awareness, Ministry of Information. These are interagency collaboration is very key. And again, the publics too, they have their own responsibility. When state government do not have enough or good waste management in place, you have people dumping waste or refuse on the drainage channel. You see people evacuating primary channel and removing the slate and put it out. Instead of it to allow it to air dry, you want to evacuate it immediately. And if you don't evacuate it, go back to this. So all this, everybody has a role, both the government, the citizen, and interagency.
All right. How aware, when it comes to level of awareness of Nigerians, how much of that is on board when it comes to those who live in flood-prone areas? For Lagos, maybe experiences and all of that, some persons might know. But how about the hinterlands where places are still rural?
See, everybody knows that every year. You don't need to wait until the end of the market before a blind man don't need to wait until the end of the market to know that the market is over, because you will not hear any noise, you won't hear anything again. Every year they know that when they have heavy rain, the river bank is overflowing, because we have river flooding, we have coastal flooding, and we have urban flooding happening in Nigeria. So those that are on the floodplain area should know to prepare themselves that year in, year out, every 6 months, we are going to enter the rainy season, and they should prepare themselves. And the flood is affecting not only human activities, farmland, economic activities, infrastructure, and everything. So the government, apart from the citizen getting the awareness from the government, they too have to educate themselves in the area of movement of their goods and safety of their life by moving away from the flood-prone area. And that is one of the advice I will give to government so that they will look at it and advise the people, the citizenry, on how to play their own role.
All right. Thank you very much, Ido Salau, for your insight into this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Right.
Me now is environmentalist and the MD CEO of Mark Press West Africa Limited, Ido Salau. Thank you very much for joining us at this time. If we even turn our attention now to the situation in Abuja, which I'm sure you're following, how do you explain the sudden floods that is ravaging parts of the FCT?
You see, don't forget that every FCT is well planned. You won't see such flooding in the city center, but in the satellite town and some area that maybe were not planned, that's where that effect of flooding is affecting those areas. And the reason is that people are now building indiscriminately on floodplain area.
So that's a key cause.
One of the reasons. Another reason is, I keep saying it, poor waste management. Most of the drainage channels where the water is supposed to pass freely are being blocked with municipal solid waste. And that's causing obstruction. So we need to do a kind of reorientation that will keep people away from floodplain area, that will keep people, that will make people to stop the habit of throwing indiscriminate disposal of waste on drainage channel, and that will keep people away from building from erecting their building on drainage channel pathway.
So would it be safe to assume now that when we talk of floods now, they are not exactly natural disasters?
Flood is natural disaster, but some of our attitude make it to be man-made too. And we have effect of flooding on human beings, which may lead to death, it may lead to loss of property. We even have secondary effect, which is outbreak of diseases such as malaria, typhoid, because when flood happens, it submerges every area, including your water infrastructure. Some of them who may have well to be drinking. Once this storm water have contact with the well water, it becomes polluted. And if you drink in it.
Right. We've also seen state governments now in trying to dredge, waterlogged areas. Normally, we've seen them trying to sand fill, but then the waters just, find a way. It's like we're fighting against nature, and we all know what that implies, so to speak. Where are our governments getting it wrong in a bid to prepare?
Thank you for that question. That's a very good question. The dredging that's supposed to be done annually. We call it maintenance dredging.
Not a once and for all.
Not a once and for all. I give you an example of the one we did in Ilorin. Is that it is a flood infrastructure to mitigate problem of flooding in Ilorin Central. Asa River, we did that project in 2012 to 2014. Up till now, federal government dredged that river with about 1.2 billion naira. The state government has not found it deemed to even carry out maintenance dredging. And every year, in and out, there is siltation happening in that area. When you go there now, it's overgrown with weed and everything like that. That's the kind of attitude our people, including government, pay to
And you're saying there was communication, governments should know, or they were already involved from the onset that this is a periodic, work that needs to be done.
Exactly. So all this, okay, I'll give you an example of Lagos. During the administration of Babatunde Raji Fashola, he paid attention seriously on drainage channel. He constructed new one, he rehabilitated old one, and the continuous maintenance of dredging was carried out in all the drainage channel in Lagos. In fact, his record has not been broken because from what we find out, he has done close to 723 kilometers of drainage channel during his 8 years in office, maintaining and constructing new one. One of the new one is the one when you come to Onyegbo. He was able to open up Onyegbo from the Ido Creek or National Charter Creek and empty into the lagoon by Onyegbo. This is what of thing we are saying. You need to open up new area for storm water to be able to reduce the urban flooding that we used to experience during the period of rainy season. So governments should be proactive and they should put a lot of people in place that will be able to think for them ahead.
Are the environmentalists, Are they doing enough, sensitizing, advocating? How
What
much
we are
work has
doing
been
right
done?
now is part of it. But it's not left for the government and the policymaker to yield to what we are saying. Because it's a thing to advise, it's another thing for them to take to your advice.
So what's your forecast?
The forecast is that everybody has a role to play. The individual, the public, they have a role to play by not disposing waste on drainage channel. Okay. Government has to put infrastructure to check and mitigate the effect of flooding. Then the way they are pumping money, I keep saying it, I said it before, the way they are pumping money to fight Boko Haram is the same way they should pump money to fight and reduce impact of flooding on human, because they all have this almost similar effects. Because if you look at the statistics, between 2012 and 2018, we've gotten about 2.1 million people displaced from 2.3 million people displaced from Boko Haram war. And now, only in 1 year, we got 2.1 million displaced.
As much displaced from flooding
in 2012.
All right, Salawu, we thank you so much for your expert analysis on this flood issue.
Thank you so much.